Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Chao Ronghua listened to my playful banter with Emperor Xianling and simply smiled quietly, her autumnal eyes shimmering with a clear and distinct beauty. After a moment, she spoke with a gentle smile. As the saying goes, a smile is worth 1,000 gold. His Majesty's gesture towards Sister Wani is surely worth just as much. Feeling a bit flushed, I laughed it off. You flatter me, Sister Ronghua. She took a sip of her tea, commenting on its refreshing quality. The fragrance is delightful, truly invigorating. Prince Qinghe has outdone himself. Partially hiding her face behind her fan, she added, I heard that when His Majesty first met Sister Wani, he used Prince Qinghe's identity to ease any unfamiliarity, leading to today's blessed union. It's truly a tale for the ages. The mention of our first meeting brought a sweet warmth to my heart, my cheeks flushing with a rosy glow. Emperor Xianling and I shared a silent, knowing smile, but then a doubt crept in. While many in the palace might have heard of our encounter, how did she know the specific detail about Emperor Xianling using Prince Qinghe's identity? I couldn't recall ever discussing this with anyone. This realization cast a shadow over my heart. Lost in thought, I was pulled back when Chao Ronghua continued. In that case, Prince Qinghe played the role of matchmaker for His Majesty and Sister Wani. He deserves our thanks, especially since he's known for his handsome and impressive demeanor, admired by many ladies of noble families who wish for his proximity. Sister Wani must have also heard of Prince Qinghe's renown before entering the palace. Emperor Xianling's gaze flickered momentarily at her words, then returned to its usual tender look towards me. That brief change made my heart skip a beat. Sensing trouble, I quickly composed myself, saying, before entering the palace, I lived a secluded life and was bedridden shortly after my arrival, unaware of Prince Qinghe's fame. I apologize for my ignorance, I said, smiling and fanning myself. His Majesty is known for his grace and consideration, making us sisters feel at ease. I wonder if he also used such measures to become acquainted with you, Sister Ronghua. Though I engaged in light conversation with Chao Ronghua, I kept a close watch on Emperor Xianling's reactions. He appeared normal, showing no signs of concern. I had done my best to distance myself from her insinuations, hoping Emperor Xianling wouldn't take her bait. The thought of him doubting me sent a chill through me, but I reassured myself with the warmth he had always shown me. He wouldn't suspect me without cause. Chao Ronghua remained quietly smiling, her presence as unassuming as a dragonfly on a lotus tip, belying the sharpness of her words that stirred undercurrents. Noting the time, she excused herself. It's about time for Princess Wenyi's meal. I should go check on her. Emperor Xianling nodded. That's a good idea. Wenyi has been fussy lately. Have Dr. Jiang, who often checks your pulse for peace of mind, examine her to see why she's been so restless. Chao Ronghua left with a composed smile, promising to update the emperor after having Dr. Jiang check on Princess Wenyi. In the hall, only Xianling and I remained, with Huan Bai and the other palace servants waiting outside. The air was filled with a gelid coolness, and even the fragrance of tea seemed to have lost its lightness, feeling sticky and suffocating. The distant treetops were filled with the raspy, dry chirping of cicadas, stirring a sense of irritation within me. Xianling's lips bore a thin smile as he ordered someone to bring forth a zither. This zither was a beloved item of Empress Shu in the past. The emperor went through many difficulties to obtain it for her. Before you came, I had wanted to listen to someone play a piece, but unfortunately, as the zither's name suggests, it has been silent, and those who play it are not skilled. I said, I will have someone call over Consort Hui. Consort Hui's mastery and skill in music are superior to yours, but the emotional depth in her music is not as profound as yours. A good zither without emotion is tasteless. You should play a piece instead, I replied. Then I shall play a piece for His Majesty. Xianling looked at me and said, Good. Green waves and a gentle breeze, sipping tea while listening to the zither, and admiring a beautiful person indeed are life's pleasures. Play the half-piece, The Height of the Mountains. I gently stroked the zither strings as instructed. It was truly a fine instrument, with a clear sound like pearls of different sizes falling into a jade plate. However, at this moment my heart was distracted, and I couldn't fully devote myself to the music, which was a shame. After the piece, the emperor applauded. Indeed, wonderfully played. The emperor stared intently into my eyes, and after a moment a faint smile appeared. I fully understand your feelings towards me. But I wonder, when did you start harboring these feelings? My heart tightened suddenly, as he indeed asked this question. He finally asked. I didn't have time to think more and stood up to walk towards him, calmly kneeling down. What I like is the person standing before me, regardless of titles and names. The emperor didn't ask me to stand up but slowly said, Explain. His Majesty, under the guise of Prince Qinghe, spent time with me enjoying music and admiring flowers. Although I admired His Majesty's talents, I believed you were the prince and thus remained cautious, not daring to overstep the boundaries. After revealing your identity, you have shown me great care and affection, treating me not just as any other consort but with the depth of a husband's love for his wife. I continued, looking up at Xianling and seeing his moved expression, which gave me some reassurance. If we must pinpoint when I developed feelings for His Majesty, it was when you helped me out of a difficult situation with you. I always avoid conflicts, and on that day Yu's actions left me at a loss. Your intervention not only solved the problem but also protected my dignity. Although it was a small effort on your part, in my eyes, His Majesty is a gentleman who rescues those in distress. Xianling's expression grew more moved, and his smile deepened as he gently helped me up, saying, I was just asking casually. I stubbornly refused to rise. Please allow me to finish, Your Majesty. I bowed to the ground and said, I deserve death for speaking such presumptuous words. In my heart, I respect you as my sovereign, but I cherish you even more as my husband. My voice choked up and I could no longer hold back my tears. Xianling, moved by compassion, took me into his arms, consoling. How could I not understand your feelings? That's why I cherish you more than all the other consorts. Today it was my paranoia, and for that I hope you don't blame me. I leaned against his chest, whispering softly, Si Lang. He held me tighter. When you were pleading with Your Majesty just now, while I was moved, I couldn't help feeling saddened. In our private moments you always call me Si Lang. It's my fault for making you upset. Tears slowly moistened the fierce and vivid golden dragon patterns on his robe. Despite the summer heat and being tightly embraced by Xianling, my heart felt as cold as a hand exposed to the autumn wind. When we left the verdant Nuanfeng Hall the next morning, the early court session, despite being on a Western tour, was not to be neglected. Xianling still went to hold court, instructing me to rise only after I had woken up. Huan followed me back to the palace and, seeing my gloominess, carefully said, My lady, don't be sad. The emperor truly cherishes you. A bitter smile curved my lips. Does he truly cherish me? If he did, why would he believe Chao Qinmo's slanderous words and doubt me like this? Huan fell silent. I continued, Do you know, yesterday was like walking through the gates of hell for me. It was not easy to dispel the emperor's suspicions and save my life. Huan was shocked and immediately knelt down, saying, Why would my lady say such things? I helped her up, feeling dejected. Had my answers just now been even slightly inappropriate or careless, it would have been the end for me. You think the emperor was merely reminiscing about the past with me, but you're greatly mistaken. He was testing whether my initial feelings were for the man known as Prince Qinghe or for the emperor himself. If I had said it was the emperor who had casually conversed and enjoyed music with me, then I would have been guilty of the unforgivable sin of licentiousness, for approaching another man while being a concubine of the emperor. Huan Bai, unable to hide her confusion, said, But it was the emperor who first concealed his identity. What does that matter? He is the emperor and he can do no wrong. Because I didn't know he was the emperor, in my eyes he was just another man. My affection for him would have been a capital offense. Huan Bai was at a loss for words. Then how could you not have feelings for the emperor after he revealed his identity? I can respect him and fear him, but I cannot love him. Because he is the sovereign and I am his subject. A line that must never be crossed. If I said my feelings were for the emperor after he revealed his identity, he would think I was only submitting to his title, not to him as a person. This would be a humiliation for any man. He would also think that my affections were just to please him, an act of flattery, just like any other consort, devoid of true feelings. In that case, I would face the risk of falling out of favor. After I finished speaking, Huan Bai was sweating profusely. I sighed deeply. Do you realize that favor and disfavor, life and death, are separated by a thin line? Huan Bai, unable to speak, finally advised after a long pause. The emperor is also a man and can get jealous. Given who Prince Qinghe is, the emperor's question is also because he cares about you. Perhaps, I said, absent-mindedly twirling a magnolia flower between my fingers. Its fragrant juice stuck to my palm, but the petals were fragile and fell apart. Jin Shi, who had been in the palace for many years and experienced much, was calm and composed. Taking advantage of the evening when she was removing her makeup and no one else was around, I told her everything that had happened in the Nuanfeng Hall in detail. Jin Shi pondered for a moment and then took a sharp breath. You suspect someone told Chao Ronghua about your private matters with the emperor? I nodded. That's what I think, but I have no evidence. Jin Shi said softly, such matters could only be known by those closest to you, and even I only heard about it from you today. The only person who could have witnessed it that day was Lu Zhu. I frowned and thought, I know. She has been with me for so many years and I trust her. She would never betray me to the Chao family. Yes, Jin Shi said after a moment's thought. I was wondering if Lu Zhu, who is always straightforward, might have mentioned it inadvertently to someone, and it somehow reached Chao Ronghua's ears. After all, the palace is a place of many rumors. After much thought, this was the only explanation. I said helplessly, fortunately, the emperor believed me, otherwise rumors can indeed be a sharp, invisible blade. Jin Shi nodded. Indeed. Nothing else matters as long as the emperor trusts you in his heart.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.